All right, Chapter 8 test review, multiple choice section. So let's just kind of jump right into this and get after it. Number 1, so it says find the missing side, round to the nearest tenth. First thing I notice is that it is a right triangle. So I know the right triangle, SOHCAHTOA, is probably the fastest way, although you could use law of sines. Maybe I'll show that on number 2. But we'll use SOHCAHTOA. So I'm going to put my guy on the angle given, and I label my sides. I have opposite, I have hypotenuse. So I'm going to use the sine ratio. Sine of 63 degrees is opposite over hypotenuse. I put a 1 under there. Cross multiply, I get x equals 13 times the sine of 63. Punch that in my calculator. 13 times sine 63. Looks like 11.58. So I peek over at the answers, and looks like A is going to be the right one for this. All right, number 2. This one, maybe I'll show you law of sines on this one. I would use SOHCAHTOA personally, but you could use law of sines. Law of sines, you got to have an angle and a side across. So I have the 54 in the x. I don't have what's across from the 12, but I could get it. I could just subtract 54 from 90, and I know that's 36 degrees. So I could use this pair. So I could say, well, the sine of 36 degrees over 12 equals the sine of 54 over x. I think it's a little bit harder and it's a little bit longer, but you're welcome to do it. So 12 times the sine of 54 equals x times the sine of 36. Divide both sides by sine of 36. Divide by the sine of 36. That goes away. And let's just punch this in. 12 times sine of 54 equals, divided by sine of 36. Getting about 16.5, which is also A. So that's just to show you could do it. I wouldn't do it that way. I would have probably used, on this problem, I would have probably put my guy here, and I would have did tangent, opposite and adjacent, and I would have went with tan of 54 is x over 12, and just did 12 times the tan of 54. That would have probably been faster, but your call. Number 3, again, right triangle. So let's put our guy on this angle given. I have the hypotenuse, I have the adjacent. Looks like a job for cosine. Cosine of 65 degrees is adjacent over hypotenuse. Put a 1 under there. I get x equals 13 times the cosine of 65. And we'll go ahead and multiply that out. 13 times cos 65, 5.49. So 5.5 looks good. Oop, don't know what happened to my... All right, back here. Let's go to number 4. So again, right triangle, so I'm still in SOHCAHTOA world. Although I do see that I got to find a missing side, so nothing, pretty similar. Opposite, hypotenuse. This is a sine problem. Opposite on top of hypotenuse. So put a 1, cross multiply. 17 times the sine of 28. 17 times sine of 28. Once you get good at these, they go really fast. So it looks like 8.0. It's a good one for this. Then we move to finding an angle. So the game changes slightly. So whenever you want to find the angle, you know that you're going to use the inverse. All right, we know we're going to do that little -1 piece. So starts off the same. Put your guy, label opposite, adjacent. That looks like a tangent move. But I don't know the angle I'm standing on. So tangent of I don't know is 20 over 34. You can't cross multiply right now. The only way to find out what this missing angle is to take the inverse of that ratio and punch that into my calculator. So second tangent 20 divided by 34, parenthesis. I'm getting 30.46 degrees. Let's see where they round it. Looks like they're just calling it 30 degrees. All right, keep going. Number 6, same type of problem. So I guess I could have left my guy there. Guy's there. This is adjacent. This is hypotenuse. So that's cosine of I don't know is adjacent on top of hypotenuse. I don't know is going to be the inverse of that ratio. So second cos 21 divided by 24, bam. It's like 28.95 degrees. We'll call that 29. And another one. So just getting reps in, building some muscle memory, if you will. Well, this one I got all 3 sides. You know, when I label it, I got opposite, I got hypotenuse, I have adjacent. So this is dealer's choice. Dealer's choice is you pick whatever your favorite ratio is. I don't know, I like tangent for some reason. So for tangent, I'm going to choose opposite and adjacent. So I'm going to say the tangent of I don't know is 35 over 84, and I don't know is inverse tan of 35/84. Second tan, 35 divided by 84. Boom. 22.6 degrees. They probably rounded up a little bit. Yep, 23. Ooh, this one looks a little bit weird. Find the length of the side labeled x, round your values to the nearest tenth, then use the rounded value to calculate the next value. Get our final answer. And well, what are we trying to find here? It doesn't really say. So we're trying to find, oh, I see what they mean. So ultimately, we need to find x. And we have 2 triangles going on here. So I think if I want to find x, I'm going to have to find probably another side or another angle before I can do that. So I don't really know what direction I'm going to go here, but let me just figure out what I can find. I do know that this side is 38, and I do have a 70. So I got a couple pieces in this triangle. So let's focus on this red triangle over here for a second. Let's see what we can figure out. Well, I know that I can figure out that, let me see, was that 70? Kind of scribbly. Yeah, that was 70. So I know if that's 70 and this is 90, that means you're going to be 20. So I have a 70 degrees, a 20 degrees, and a 38. I think I should be able to find this side right here. I'm going to call it y, because if I could find y, it'll help me get that hypotenuse. So let's find y. First thing is I'm going to put my guy right over here, and I have the adjacent of the red triangle, and I'm looking for the opposite. And so let's do that. That'd be tangent. So tangent, when standing on 70 degrees, is opposite over adjacent. And I'm going to put a 1 under there and cross multiply. So y is 38 times the tangent of 70 degrees. So 38 times the tangent of 70 degrees. And I get y is 104.404, blah, 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 blah. Well, they told me it said round the intermediate values. That means the in-between stuff to the nearest tenth. So I'm just going to call y 104.4. And I'm going to use that moving forward. So now I know what y is. So y is 104.4. And now I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to focus on this triangle, because I can use the 56 and the 104 to get x, which is ultimately what I'm after. So he doesn't really matter anymore. I now reposition and say, all right, dude, you're over here now. And I label my sides. Well, this is opposite and this is hypotenuse. So that's sine. So the sine, when standing on 56 degrees, is opposite over hypotenuse. put a 1 under there, cross multiply, 104.4 equals x times the sine of 56. Get x by itself through division. And let's see what we got. 104.4 divided by the sine of 56 equals 125.9. And whew, I was a little nervous there. Looks like it's there. So this was what's called a two-step trig problem. A little bit trickier. Got to get 2 steps to figure that thing out. Let's try number 9. So now we're kind of walking and chewing gum. Find the area of the triangle, round, intermediate. So it's very similar to the last problem. To find the area of the triangle, I need to get the base times the height. So I need to get this entire base, and I need to get this blue height. So I got a lot of pieces. I have none of them, except for one side of that 42. So kind of way over here to the left, area is 1/2 base times height. I'll put the base in red and the height in blue. And I got a lot of work cut out for me. So I always want to say, well, where do I have the most information? I have the most information right now in this triangle. Okay? Because I got the 24, I got the 42. And what I need is, I would really like to have this height here. So why don't we get after that? So I'm going to ignore this for the moment. I'm going to put my guy here. And within the green triangle, I have opposite and I have adjacent. So I'm going to use the tangent of 24 degrees is opposite over adjacent. And I cross multiply and I get 42 cross multiply h tan 24 divide by tan 24 divide by tan 24. 42 divided by the tangent of 24 is 94.33. They told me to intermediate stuff to the nearest tenth. So from here forward, we're going to use 94.3 for h. So I'm going to now get rid of everything I had on here. And I now know that this is 94.3. So over in my ultimate formula for area, I know what the height is. It's 94.3. Now we got to get after that base. And to get after that base, I need this piece. Like that would really be helpful if I could get that piece. So I'm going to call it x. And I'm going to shift focus to the green triangle. And I'm going to say, okay, put my guy here. This is opposite, this is adjacent. So we got another tangent set up. The tangent of 32 degrees is opposite on top of adjacent. Slap a 1 under there, cross multiply. Multiply those two together. I'm just going to type it in right now. 94.3 times the tangent of 32 is 58.9. Now, don't put that in your equation yet because that's just this piece down here, 58.9. So now I think I can get this whole base by adding these two together. And that's going to be like 100.9, I think. So the entire base is 100.9. Now I'm going to use a calculator. 0.5 times 100.9 times 94.3 equals 4757.435. 4757. Money. There it is. So those last two problems, those are not going to be on probably the multiple choice test. I'll probably reserve one of those for the short answer. So be prepared for the short answer there. I'll try to let you know during the Zoom and in class, but I'm not going to put that on the multiple choice section. Now we change games because notice we are entering territory where we have non-right triangles. So you're going to want to use your cheat sheet and you're going to want to flip to the back side. Our only options are law of sines or law of cosines. Can't use SOHCAHTOA anymore. Now remember when to use what? Well, you can use the law of sines when you have angle, angle, side, angle, or ASS, two sides with the angle that's not included. Law of cosines has to be used for side, 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 angle, side. So that kind of tips you off as to who we need. Well, looking at this one, we have angle, angle, and some random side. So I think we can use the law of sines here. So let's set up law of sines. I got the sine of 82, and then the side across from that angle. And then I got the sine 28, and we're trying to get AC, aka little b. So sine 28 over little b, cross multiply, 19 times the sine of 28 degrees equals b times the sine of 82, divide, and let's see what we got. 19 times sine 28 equals, divided by sine 82, bam, 9.00. So looks like we got an answer there of C. Number 11, so we're trying to find the measure of an angle. I see that I have ASS, an angle in two sides, so I know I can use law of sines again. We're trying to find angle A, so I'm going to use this across from him. So sine of 110 across from 14, the sine of I don't know across from 7, little cross multiply action. So 14 times the sine of A, 7 times the sine of 110, divide by 14, divide by 14. That's going to give me the sine of something equals whatever that is, 7 times sine of 110 divided by 14. So I'm getting 0.4698, blah, blah, blah. So whenever you want to find the angle, you got to use the inverse. And I'm going to use the ANS key so I don't have to round anything. So I'm just going to do second sine, second, and I hit the negative key, and I get the ANS. And it looks like we're talking 28 degrees. The correct answer there is D. Next one. What do we got going here? Let's see. So find AC. Well, this one is a side angle side. So notice I have a side, the included angle, and the other side. So I got side angle side. So this tells me I got to use law of cosines. And since we want AC, aka little b, I'm going to use a little b equation. So this is just going to be a lot of calculator work, jamming all this crap in. So let's just start putting in all of our values. Your little a, your little c. Don't know why I put a b there. And let's just start jamming stuff in. So b squared equals little a squared plus little c squared minus 2 times little a times little c, all times the cosine of big old B. And remember, you're not going to get the answer yet. You're going to have to take the square root in a minute. 24 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 24 times 13 times cos 29 equals, looks like I get about 199.23. Square root. So I'm going to use that answer key again, second square root, second negative. And I'm getting 14.115. So it looks like the correct answer there is D. Number 13, this is a side, side, side problem. All three sides. So I know this is law of cosines. I need to get the angle A. So I'm going to use the A equation. A squared, not plus. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC, all times the cosine of big A. On the cheat sheet, if you look at the back of the cheat sheet, I solved this for cosine of A early, which makes it a little easier. So I'm going to move all of this stuff. You got to go to the other side. You got to go to the other side. So that happens through subtraction. And then I need to divide by, I have a negative 2 times B times C times cosine of A. So I need to divide by all of this stuff. And that should give me cosine of A chilling by himself, which is what we're after. So let's plug people in. I got little a, little b, little c. So 17 squared minus 10 squared minus 11 squared all over negative 2 times 10 times 11. It's going to equal the cosine of something. See what we get on the left. 17 squared minus 10 squared minus 11 squared equals, that's kind of weird, I get 68 up here. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Let me just double check. 17, because I normally get 2 negatives. So let me just make sure that everything is on the up and up. 10, 11, well, I guess we'll just keep going. On the bottom, I get negative 2 times 10 times 11. I think this is going to give me an error, but I'm going to keep rolling to see what happens. So to find A, I got to take the inverse of that. So inverse cos 68 divided by a negative 220. I know it's going to say error. No, it didn't. Wow. All right. So A is the inverse cosine of that thing. And I ended up getting 108. And there's a 108 there. So I guess you can have a negative thing over there. It's no big deal. And keep going. And that's it. That's the last problem. So I think I'm going to take it easy on you on the test. I don't think I'm going to do what's on the homework where you had to do trig twice as far as law of cosines and then follow it back up with law of sines. I think I'm going to be able to control those problems so that you don't have to deal with them. All right, hopefully this gets you ready for the multiple choice section. See you.